She made history as the first Roblox mom to create a TikTok account. She was the trendsetter of the Roblox moms and dads community. She set the trend for making videos about being a single mother living in Brookhaven. Yet the very trend she started was also what ultimately ruined her. Her name was Betty Elizabeth West. Betty was born on August 12, 1976, with the birth name of Beatrice Elizabeth Robinson, nicknamed Betty. Betty was born to a middle-class family in Berry Avenue. Betty was popular in high school and had a lot of friends, though she felt no one really understood her. Betty lived in Berry Avenue until 1994, when she moved to Los Angeles at the age of 18 to live out her dream of being a singer. In 1995, Betty got a record deal and she released her debut album, What's Love Anyway, in October of 1995. She would then be sidelined by her record label as more important talents were prioritized. She was deeply hurt by this, but still continued pursuing her dreams. In late 1996, her label completely dropped her. Betty was devastated and had to move back to Berry Avenue with her parents. At 20 years old, Betty lived with her very disappointed parents, who had always expected far too much from her. She got a job at a gas station and saved money religiously until she could move to Bloxburg in 1998 for a fresh start. It was here that she met her first husband, Roy West. They fell in love instantly and married that very year. That marriage took place on June 11th, which was the day she officially took the name Betty West. Their first child, Josh, was born on December 1st, 2000, followed by their second child, Sally, on April 5th, 2004. They lived happily until 2006 when they moved to Brookhaven due to Betty's husband getting a high-pay job opportunity. And there, Betty had her third and final child, Danny, born July 8th, 2009. In 2022, Betty felt her life had become boring, so she actively looked for a new hobby. Her search for a hobby ended when she heard about an app called TikTok. Betty created her TikTok account in March 2023 because her marriage was dead and she was deeply bored. Her first video showed off the iconic purple car that her husband had bought for her. Betty's account blew up really fast, with her first video getting 1.8 million views in about a week. Betty got a lot of support and people loved her. Her videos were breaking 400K views consistently. Audiences widely credited her with inventing the Roblox mom format. Consequently, any creator who tried something similar was blasted with hate for copying her work. She was gaining thousands and thousands of followers every day. Betty was completely shocked by the overwhelming support and the massive amount of money it brought in. Just 2 months after creating her account, she earned enough to buy a beautiful Spanish-style villa in Brookhaven. She married her first husband, Roy West, in 1998 but divorced him in 2023 when he angrily demanded the earnings from her account simply because he was the man of the house. Later that same year, she married Mike Carter, but they divorced in 2024 after he cheated on her. In 2025, she married her current husband, Simon Francis Fishwick, a successful businessman worth millions who provides the mansion Betty lives in today. On June 10, 2023, Betty was kidnapped by her ex-husband Roy. He was deeply jealous of her sudden internet fame and furious that she was already dating Mike Carter. After being held captive in an underground basement for 3 days, she was thankfully rescued when she hit her ex-husband over the head with a chair. Then, she climbed out of an air vent and was spotted by a duty police officer when she was running down the road. After rescuing her, the officer drove Betty to a hospital, where she spent a few days recovering. Betty was invited to the 2023 Brit Awards as her debut album, What's Love Anyway, finally got recognition. There, Betty encountered several important figures who surprised her by praising her content. When Betty returned to Brookhaven, she met Clary LeMajor, a highly popular TikToker who was clearly influenced by Betty. For some reason, Clary disliked Betty, which quickly led to an argument and a physical fight. The fight left Betty badly bruised and missing hair. Tragically, in July 2023, the Bloxy Burgers explosion claimed the life of Betty's eldest son. She flew straight to Bloxburg but arrived too late to save him. She was utterly devastated, and that tragic loss marked the beginning of a severe downward spiral into a plastic surgery addiction. Her overspending placed her in a massive debt of around $168,100. By November 2023, she had to sell her beloved villa and her entire car collection, leaving her completely devastated and homeless. Betty ended up living in Brookhaven Motel for 6 months. Betty permanently quit TikTok in September 2023, just 7 months after creating her account. An insane number of copycats had stolen her video formats, causing her to lose widespread recognition. Lost and drowning in deep debt, she watched as her account completely stopped generating any income. Dozens of creators copied Betty by using her name to garner views and recognition. These copycats dressed exactly like her and copied her videos word for word. The absolute worst offender was a woman named Batty Bethany, who copied Betty during her final months of posting. Bethany pulled in double the views of Betty and quickly gained more followers. She then boldly claimed that she had never copied anyone, causing viewers to falsely accuse Betty of being the copycat. Ultimately, Bethany was the main reason Betty decided to quit TikTok. Looking back after quitting, Betty thinks the community has gone completely downhill. She believes the RMAD community is now driven by deep roots of jealousy and spite, and she constantly misses the early days. While away from TikTok, Betty worked a standard job on Berry Avenue and lived paycheck to paycheck in a small apartment on the rougher side of the city with her 2 kids. This was where she met her current husband, Simon, who was staying in a luxurious penthouse. They fell in love instantly, and Betty shared her lifelong dreams of moving back to Brookhaven. On Christmas 2025, Simon surprised her with a stunning modern mansion in Brookhaven, allowing her to finally move back and reunite with her old friends. Betty's new happiness was shadowed by the fact that Clary LeMajor had tragically passed away in April 2025. Deeply devastated by the loss, Betty thinks about Clary every day and constantly reflects on how their relationship could have turned out differently. At the beginning of 2026, since Betty's life was finally starting to improve, she decided to download TikTok again to reconnect with the RMAD community and see what had changed since her departure. Sadly, nobody cared about the Roblox moms and dads community anymore, and her followers and views completely stopped growing. Betty felt deeply saddened because she had sacrificed a huge part of her life for TikTok, seeing her entire world turn upside down by the app, only for everyone to move on. Sadly, Betty West is currently addicted to plastic surgery, having already undergone 8 procedures with no signs of stopping anytime soon. This destructive habit proves that the Roblox moms and dads community had a lasting negative effect on Betty, exposing just how toxic that environment really was. However, it is a relief that Betty is still alive today, considering she could have shared the exact same tragic fate as Shazariah or Clary. What amazes me the most is that just 3 years ago, in the summer of 2023, Betty West was a starlet and the ultimate trendsetter. Everyone wanted to meet her or be noticed by her, and some creators even tried to completely become her. Now in 2026, only a few people carry the legacy of her name. The copycats did not just steal her views, they actively eroded her sense of safety and personal identity. Watching strangers online wear her exact clothes and mimic her voice made her feel constantly stalked and stripped of her own life story. And my guess is that this intense psychological pressure is what truly drove her to seek comfort in changing her physical appearance through surgeries. Even though Simon provided her with a beautiful modern mansion on Christmas 2025, luxury cannot instantly cure years of trauma. Betty often finds herself staring at the walls of her new home, feeling a deep sense of paranoia that everything could vanish overnight just like it did before. The wealth keeps her physically safe, but her mind still races with memories of the kidnapping, the brutal fight with Clary, and the terrifying debt that once ruined her. In the end, Betty West stands as a living reminder of the heavy price of internet fame. left with a beautiful mansion but a heart forever changed by the community she helped create.